important stuff. Hello, this is Natalie Armstrong-Moton. I'm talking to my friend and colleague who is a mediator, an author, and a therapist, Esther Carson-Bruhl. Hi, Esther.
Hi, Natalie.
There's the book right there, Getting Unstuck. That's what we wish for everybody as they're going through the book and watching these videos, is to get unstuck. We made our way all the way through chapters 1 to 8. We're now on chapter 9. Chapter 9 is a lot of fun. It is a good challenge. This is a fantastic skill for people to develop, and it's all about setting boundaries. When your yes means yes and your no means no. Tell us a little bit about what we can expect here in chapter 9.
Well, the thing is, if you don't say anything, you've said yes implicitly. So avoiding an answer is not the answer. And when you say yes, when you really mean no, you almost always will be resentful because now you're doing something that you didn't want to do. And that's not fair or right or clean. I like to use that word. And so, you know, part of the reflections on that are, why is it so hard for you to say no? Because it's hard for a lot of people to say no, but to really pay attention to, well, what is somebody going to think or do or say if I say no? And it's important, right? This goes back to several chapters ago. Taking responsibility for being important to yourself. Sometimes people don't know themselves well enough to know what they actually think and care about. So they're indifferent and they don't trust themselves to figure it out. Or they don't really realize that they're not being accountable and responsible for being their own self. And so who do you actually want to be if not you? You know, all this stuff gets confusing. But really being willing to be honest with yourself, to know, I really don't want to do that. I'm really not willing to do that. And by the way, wanting and willing are two different things. But being choiceful is critical.
It is, and one of the things I liked about this chapter was that it was not just about having the self-respect to be honest in my wanting to say yes or say no, or allowing myself to say yes or say no, but it was also about doing it in such a way that it was respecting other people. And so it really was not a unilateral, I'm setting a boundary unilaterally. It really does have a cyclical respect theme, these boundaries that you're talking about.
Well, that's so true. And you're setting expectations. And you're also demonstrating that the person can trust you, that you're credible, and the person knows what they can count on, that they can count on you to be, you know, direct and forthcoming and all of that. And it is really about managing an interaction in a way that's, you know where you stand. And that's the basis of trust, right? The credibility and knowing that you can count on the person to say what they mean and mean what they say is a foundational piece of trust, which is foundational to relationships and all kinds of stuff. So this is a big one. It's hard for people to do. They get embarrassed and scared and all that stuff, but it's really important to do it.
Well, and if I'm remembering correctly, this is sort of the point in your book where you start talking about, maybe, you know, for some of us, this is the right time in the process of getting unstuck, that we might want to look to a professional, to look to a therapist to try to help us now bring together all of these chapters 1 through now 9. And really solidify all of these stones that we've laid in our foundation so that we can move ahead to chapter 10. And I know that one of the things that you do as a therapist is you have therapy groups. So you've got one-on-one sessions that you do with people, but you also have therapy groups that the members can really start learning, not just from you, but from each other, and build on a community experience.
One of the things that I say about group therapy is that it's a way of learning to be yourself in the company of others, so that you don't lose yourself, you don't give yourself up, you don't make yourself invisible and unimportant, and yeah.
Right. And I can see how for this particular chapter, having some relationship communication really is going to be important. And so as people are going through the book and the workbook, this is the chapter that, you know, does require us to have more healthful conversations with others so that we can better learn that our yes means yes, our no means no, and this is why that both of those really matter.
Well, I think what you said is important about how the lessons are building and accumulating, and the process. Now, if you've been working through some of these specific issues, now it's about how to integrate them, and what is, starting with the end in mind, have to do with self-respect and all that kind of stuff. So it's now you can actually start to feel and believe in your wisdom and success, because you can start to see. Sometimes people think that therapy is about 79 rules and things you have to learn. It's not 79, it's a handful applied in 7,900 different ways. It's not, you know, I like to joke that it's not rocket science and brain surgery. It's not. It's a handful of life lessons, well learned and integrated, and then you can always go deeper. And, you know, if you've ever taught school, you know that you have the, you know, the goody two-shoes little girls who know all the answers all the time and do everything right. And then there are the messy kind of boys in the middle that don't turn in their homework. And then there are the ones who kind of don't get it. But you can teach the same lesson to all those levels. And so learning a lesson well, but then being able to go deeper is very gratifying, and that's how we get to be wise. So
we're really picking up steam now. We're headed into chapter 10. And so the next video, or the next chapter, if you're reading along, is going to be about confronting and resolving conflict. It's going to be a good chapter.
Yes, big one.
All right, everyone, join us, I hope, for chapter 10. If you're reading, then you'll want to be sure that you are utilizing the workbook space in the book. If you don't want to write in Esther's book, she respects that, understands that, and has created for you a downloadable document on Amazon, so you can download a complimentary workbook. And so you can read and write at the same time and follow along with these videos. All right, Esther, I'll see you shortly for chapter 10.
Okay, we'll be back.
All right.